Hello, and welcome back to An Old Guy Talks About Movies. I'm 40, and this is the other half of my 40 for 40. I was trying to get out 40 of my favorite films this year to celebrate me turning 40, and I didn't quite get to the halfway mark, so there's going to be a few more that are after me turning 40, like this one. And this is InGlourious Basterds, which is available on FreeVee, or at least it was when I watched it. It's so close to the end of the month that I don't pay attention to whether or not a title's about to leave the service. I'm just happy to find something that I can truly say I've watched a couple of times, and I consider it to be in the top echelon of films for me. Not necessarily always the best films. I mean, I've reviewed some films that I don't think people are like, ooh, that's definitely it's definitely an Oscar. Should have won the Oscars that year. Arnold Schwarzenegger for Kindergarten Cop was robbed. I don't think anybody makes those arguments about some of those films, but they make me happy, and that's what this exploration is for you guys to get to know me a little bit better and my taste. And it's like I wanted to make sure they all had audio description. This has audio description. So it's if you ever run into somebody on a YouTube channel that has not seen a Quentin Tarantino film, no, please don't click subscribe. I don't care if you guys subscribe to other film YouTubers. I subscribe to, I don't know, like 100. But if I found out one of them like did not have a favorite Quentin Tarantino film, or at least didn't have like a valid argument to where they had watched Quentin Tarantino films and didn't like them, I would invalidate their opinion. I just don't think their opinion is worth anything. He's too much. He's too big. He's hit that echelon where you have to have an opinion about him. You can't be in the film world without having an opinion on Tarantino. After having watched his films, you can't just write him off because you saw a preview and you're like, it's not my style. Cool. Well, I hope all you do is you review content for preschoolers, because that's really the only way you're going to get away with that. I've seen all of his films, and for me, my least favorite is Jackie Brown. Jackie Brown just doesn't do anything for me, if I'm being like just really, really honest. I know this is a different answer for different people, but for me, it's Jackie Brown. So, it's not that Jackie Brown's a bad film. I just think it's the closest thing to average that he's made in my life that I can think of. Although it does have its certainly it has its positive elements, like a solid performance from Chris Tucker, before he started actually giving solid performances. So we get to InGlourious Basterds, and yeah, this is my favorite Tarantino film of all time. And yeah, it's above Pulp Fiction or Reservoir Dogs for me. I do like those films, but InGlourious, there's something just really, he taps into that thing inside all of us that says, do you want to watch a bunch of Nazis get killed and it not really be like a war film? You know what I'm saying? Like, there's a difference between watching D-Day on Saving Private Ryan and watching some Nazis get shot, and you're like, yeah. But there's also like a lot of American deaths, and it's very sad and tragic and hyper realistic. This is not so hyper realistic. This is like a group of people and led by Brad Pitt, and by God, he's gonna get those scalps. So it is definitely, in this day and age, I feel like if we could summon the InGlourious Basterds, there are some people still walking around who the InGlourious Basterds and the Bear Jew and all of them haven't been able to track down yet. And they missed a few. If you could come get them, that would be great. Unfortunately, we live in an age where anti-Semitism is far too prevalent in society, and watching a film like this is cathartic. It's cathartic. So, and it's just a great film. This is the Academy Award winning performance from Christoph Waltz. When we didn't really know what a Christoph Waltz was, it was just he broke in and he was Hans Landa, and it was a great performance. And then we realized, oh, he does this a lot. This is just kind of like he's somebody who just kind of does got it. Like I still kind of am waiting to see like a transformative Christoph Waltz performance, but they're all kind of the same thing. Even in his latest Amazon TV series, The Consultant, there's little pieces of Hans Landa in there that you can see. He hasn't totally been able to shake that off. He gets cast far too often in villain roles. And I kind of just want to see him be challenged more, offered a wider range of roles. I'd love to see him just play like a straight drama. Almost like what he did with Carnage, but more so. I want to see him just be like a dad to a little boy in some heartwarming drama, and just see how that works out for him. I think he's good at what he does, but he's got this sweet spot that he needs to be in order to deliver those performances. But when he does deliver them, they're great. Like, he's excellent in certain things, and this is one of them. This is an excellent performance from him. Even back in the day when I was doing reviews and always posting up my own, like, who I would vote for at the Oscars, I can tell you wholeheartedly that my pick for Best Supporting Actress this year was Melanie Laurent from InGlourious Basterds, and she didn't get nominated. And when that happened, I was just like, I think I kicked some furniture over. Just I couldn't cope. I was like, did you not watch her performance? Like, how do you not watch her performance and then not nominate her? She was fantastic in this film. Her Shoshana is just, I mean, her story arc, from, at first we see her younger self escape, and then later on she's in that scene where this Nazi's trying to flirt with her and she is not having it. But it's also at the same time she has to be at least some sort of, she has to like answer questions so that she doesn't come off as being anything that the Nazis would find troubling or concerning. Just that she can't be bothered with this experience. And later on, of course, she burns the whole thing to the ground, and it's just such a great performance from Melanie Laurent. And it's just in the middle of this movie, full of great performances that didn't quite get recognized. This was sort of at the early end of Michael Fassbender's career also. Like, we were sort of learning to embrace the Fassbender, before he fully broke out into stardom. And he was sort of banking those roles, like some actors do at the beginning of their career, where they bank a couple roles so that because not everybody gets nominated on their first role. Not everybody is a breakthrough performer. Sometimes it's like, they've been doing a couple things and it's like, oh, they were good in that, but nobody saw that. Oh, I saw that, but did you see that? Oh, you should watch that. It becomes that conversation, and that kind of was, Fassbender was coming up that way. And he's excellent here, and Brad Pitt is excellent here. This is definitely one of the more entertaining things he's ever had the opportunity to do. So it's just a really great, rewarding film. And with audio description, I can actually fucking watch this movie. I can actually watch it. This is one of those things that, because it's a comfort film for me, as weird as that sounds, I kind of forgot how much of this was in another language. And I tried watching this, right, like at the beginning of me losing my vision. And then I got to some of the scenes and I was like, I can't. Oh my God. It's so disappointing, because there's so many scenes and where they speak in another language, and you have to either know like multiple languages, because they speak in like German and French, You know, it's just, it's not even like one language. It's not even like if you were bilingual, that you have to be like trilingual to get through this film. Um, so, yeah, it's unwatchable without audio description. I'm just gonna say that. But with audio description, uh, they do translate all of the text, and it's so much nicer. It's like I would love to read subtitles, but I can't. I didn't have a problem reading subtitles before until I can't read anymore. So like it's audio description. I think when with people with foreign language titles, I think that dubbing is somehow besmirching, because there was always this turning people's noses up at dubbing. It's like, oh, this is the lesser version doing it, and I I think that's valid. The fact that we need to hear it, but some people actually need to hear it because they can't see it. So I think the filmmakers have to continue to offer something they may not want to offer, so that a large chunk of the audience doesn't just fade away. But the other weird thing is this is on FreeVee, so there's commercials and like weird commercials, just tonally wrong for InGlourious Basterds. Like in the middle of the film, you know, like you're in the middle of like a really tense scene and they're trying to sell you something about babies, and you're like, this is not. I don't know what you're trying to do right now, but this is not the commercial for this moment. If you knew what was going on right now, you would not have broken for this commercial. This is not the right commercial. So it kind of creates this unintended, hilarious experience when you watch something on FreeVee and you're in the middle of this tense moment and there's all of a sudden like the goofiest commercial or something for like little kids, you know, and you're watching something that's not for little kids. So yeah, that was a fun experience. But I do really love InGlourious Basterds. The audio description just sounds old to me. It doesn't sound. I've listened to a lot of TTS, robo description. This kind of sounds like it, but it also just kind of sounds old to me. It just kind of sounds like this might just be. They might have actually done the audio description for this back in 2009. It even says at the beginning of the film, I think it dropped the name of the group that had done it at the beginning of 2009. There's a little thing at the top of the credits where it's like, it gives the name of a company and it says 2009. And I didn't know the company, and I didn't know, you know, I was like, did we just squeeze in what's going on? And it just sounds old. It doesn't sound like the audio description track was really taken care of or was recorded on the newest and hottest equipment. I've heard some stuff that kind of sounds a little older to me, and that's what this feels like. It's actually really well written. If this is TTS and we're gonna write TTS like this, fine. Like, I mean, I felt like it gave me all of the action, the adjectives, the way that it described people, and how they looked, and it kind of knew where the story was going. Like, it knew what was important. It knew what to bring out, what to talk about. And from somebody who's seen InGlourious Basterds several times, I felt like the audio description, at least from everything I can remember, I mean, having not been able to see the film in several years, but I have seen it a couple times, trying to merge those two things together, I actually thought the audio description really kind of helped bring the film back for me. In addition to the fact that I, thank God, can actually understand these conversations. So, yeah, I'm really happy with it. If you think this is TTS, then this is the best damn TTS I've seen, and maybe ever. This might be the best TTS audio description I've ever had. If this turns out, it's kind of a monotone voice, but it just kind of sounds old to me. If I'm being really honest, I wish it had given me a narrator at the top along with the company. That would have helped. But I didn't recognize the company, so I wasn't even sure at the time. I was like, is that the company? I don't know. I'm so confused. Anyway, like most of my 40 for 40s, I wouldn't be sharing it with you if I didn't have this on my favorite list. So, and I like to do things that there's actually been a passage of time, so I've been able to marinate on it. So I'm not trying to do films that came out like last year. I think it takes a minute for you to realize. I hate people who, I always see them on forums, and like these are my favorite films of all time, and like in the top 5 is a film that came out like last week, and I'm like, please go away, please, please, child, please leave the internet alone, leave the internet alone. You have not watched enough films if immediately a film becomes in your top 5 of all time. You can say it has the potential, but you need to understand I've been there so many times where I thought a film was going to be in my top, and it fades from memory super quick. Sometimes you watch a film in the middle of hype, and it's the hype that sells you on it. Sometimes you watch a film that you realize is not rewatchable, like, or you end up suddenly, all of a sudden, your eyes become open, and you see all of the problems with the film the second time around, and you're just like, I don't know how I didn't understand this plot before. Wow, this is really problematic. I've been all those places before, and I can tell you that trying to put a film you've just seen in your top 5 is ridiculous. Give it a couple years at least. See a few more movies in between you posting, being bold to post that the top 5 list. Go out and watch a few more films and then come back around something else. But it kind of reveals the age and lack of experience of somebody whenever I see that. Is like, I've seen thousands of films. I would never do that. I would never put something in my top 5 right away like that. Even the films that I'm like, this is my favorite film of the year, doesn't immediately move it into my top, because sometimes the film that ends up making me warm and fuzzy inside is the film that I might have put at number 15. That could be the film that ends up standing the test of time for me. It doesn't necessarily mean it was the best film of its year, quality-wise, but it might be the most entertaining and rewatchable. Anyway, so I'm giving InGlourious Basterds an A+. Thanks for watching. Thanks for subscribing. I hope you've seen this. What's your favorite Quentin Tarantino movie? I don't get enough comments, so throw that in the comments. Tell me what your favorite Tarantino movie is. And that's it. I have a website, macmoviiguy.com. You can follow me on Twitter or Instagram at macmovieguy. You can go to the audio description project, adp.acb.org. It'll let you know what has audio description and where you can watch it. And you can go to the ADNA.org. That's the ADNA.org. It'll let you know who's narrating your favorite films and television series. So, I will watch something else and see you guys on the other side. But you owe me, some of you still owe me some scalps. I'm gonna get my Nazi scalps.